655. We start off every one of our meetings with the Pledge of the Allegiance, so I would ask you all to stand with me as we do that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. I also do a traditional land acknowledgement. Lewis occupies the ancestral, traditional, and contemporary lands of the Osage Nation, Oto, Missouri, Illinois Confederacy, Quapaw, Ho-Chunk, Miami, and many other tribes as the custodians of the land where we gather this evening. Thank you. I will take a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting. If I could get a motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much. First item of discussion this evening is going to be the election update. There will be a re-election here at Local 655. This platform is for union business only. We have posted on our Facebook page as well anything pertaining to campaigning or the election, unless it is questions about a timeline that we can answer. We will not be able to answer any of those questions this evening on this platform. I ask that we all respect that, and I appreciate that very much. Amendments 4 and 5 went down in a blaze of glory here in the state of Missouri, I'm happy to say. We had our folks out knocking doors, and a lot of the doors that we knocked, I'm sure maybe weren't very much in favor of everything that we stand for, but whenever it came to this subject, they were most certainly on board. And I was glad to see that it went down. The people's voices in the state of Missouri are very important. We have almost 8,000 of them in this union, and I think it's really important that if we decide that something isn't right for you, that you have a chance to be able to step up, sign a petition, and give it to the vote of the people. So I was really proud to see that that happened. Greenwood Cemetery. I've heard from many of you over the years, why don't we honor Juneteenth? And I agree. I believe that it deserves recognition and it deserves honor. So instead of just saying things and putting out a nice post, we were able to go to Greenwood Cemetery. It is a cemetery that has been long forgotten by time and people, and it has veterans out there who are buried there, but it was one of the designated territories where Black people could be buried. So we got a hold of Sheila and Ralph at the cemetery. Unite Here, Local 74, Local 88, gas workers, and Local 655 had 40 people out there, and we weed ate, and we washed tombstones, and we removed debris and junk that people had dumped there out of disrespect. And whenever we left there and we turned around, we had unveiled so many graves that should have never been forgotten. And it was a very proud day for Local 655, and everybody who was out there felt an impact that whenever we stand together, we can actually do more. And I hope to return there every year and maybe adopt that for our wreath laying in December. Again, we have about 60 veterans buried out there too. So we want to make sure that we're honoring them. But I appreciate all the other locals that showed up. I appreciated all the effort that was given because it was a lot of hard work and it was hot. But we mowed and we trimmed and we weed ate and we did a lot of great things. So in honor of Juneteenth, and I hope that everybody sees that that's a really great thing for us to do. The Steward Seminar in 2027 will be in Margaritaville, May 16th through the 18th. You've probably seen over the past year how we're partnering with Local 88 on many things. For those of you that don't belong to the stores, Local 88 has the seafood, deli, and meat departments in our stores, and they have their own union and we have ours. Over the years, it's never been a joint effort to make sure that we're taking care of each other. So Local 88 President Kyle Norris came to our seminar last year, and he found it so interesting that he proposed and asked if they would be able to join our seminar this year. And I'm excited to tell you that they're going to be there. This is a great way for everybody to build solidarity, to make sure that we're taking care of each other no matter what the department, because if the company does something to Local 88, they're going to do it to Local 655 and vice versa. So we're very excited about that venture. We're excited to see how many stewards show up for him. We had quite a few last year, and I'm really looking forward to that. I will tell you that there's going to be separate educational classes because he has different contracts than we do, but there's going to be a lot of general sessions where we're all going to be learning some of the same stuff that stewards need to know. This is their first one ever, So we're very excited to have them join us. Yeah. So no. So this is for the Steward Seminar. All of our stewards go to an educational seminar once a year, and Kyle wants to bring some of his stewards there, and we're going to share space, but they're going to have their own education on their contracts. We'll have them on ours, and then we can have joint sessions of things that are generalized, maybe wine garden rights, how to be a great steward, those kind of things. Are you a steward? Well, welcome. First and foremost, welcome. Well done. Good for you. Stewards go to the Steward Seminar. So whenever they get there, they'll get the agenda, and then they're going to know when those joint classes will be and then when the separate ones will be to answer your question. Okay? Thank you very much. What is your name? Heather? Thank you. Yes. No. There's no merger of the unions. No. I never said no. This is just us working together to make sure that whatever happens to them could happen to us. Kyle and I are communicating on a weekly basis to make sure that we're partnering up to protect you in your workplace and advocate for you at the highest level. That's what that is. Yes, absolutely. Schnucks 40-hour positions, we finally got through our ratios. We do ratios to make sure that the company stays at 50% full-time. We had a few bumps and bruises with the company trying to get that completed, but I am happy to tell you, after a grievance was filed and we've had a couple meetings, we finally got the ratios rectified. And in September, per your contract for Schnucks, the company will have to add 20 more full-time positions. So if you're interested in that, please fill out the full-time request forms at the beginning of before February and or August. You can turn them in once or you can turn them in twice. But get your name on there and mark down all the places that you're willing to go and get it turned in so that if your name comes up, they can offer you that full-time position. It's a great avenue through our contract for you to get that. So once you put your full-time form in, which you can get from the company, or you can talk to your representative and we can get you one, they'll keep your name on the list. The only time that you would move on that list is if they offer you a position and you decline it. Then you would go down to the bottom of the list. They will notify you, and so will we. Yes, typically the company notifies you first. Sure. Get your form in, and then your name goes on the 40-hour request list. And then whatever, depending on what you choose on that sheet, because there's many different places and locations, depending on what they need for business needs, then they offer those according to how they come up on the list. Does that make sense? Okay, perfect. You're welcome. Thanks for the questions. They're very good. High profile contract. I'm glad to say not just for Local 655, but for the state of Missouri. Local 655 was the first union to land a cannabis contract in the state of Missouri, and I think that deserves a round of applause. It is a growing industry, and we finally got the company to get us a contract so that those workers can have rights in the workplaces just like everybody else does. So we're excited to start implementing that, representing them, and making sure that they know that whenever you organize with us, we take it very seriously. So well done to High Profile. Powercamp. So we sent 3 stewards to Powercamp, and let me tell you what that is. Rochelle Netzer is our regional director. She asked a bunch of us last year if there was any interest, if she put together an organizing Powercamp to kind of explain what organizing is, how to meet other people, how to talk without knowing really what that person is going to respond to you. And we sent 3 of our stewards up there, Sarah Doggendorf, Susan Duvall, and Tony Scoggins. And I could tell you about it, but I actually have 2 of them in the room this evening. So if you wouldn't mind, would you please come up and kind of tell us what your experience was?
Good evening. I'm Susan. Well, one of the most interesting things I think that I learned was the way they taught us. The activities, you didn't feel like you were learning anything. I mean, you were having fun.
Yeah,
I mean, we were having fun.
There's a lot of listening and then
Yeah.
learning by osmosis.
Yes. But then after the activity, we would have a debrief session, and they would tell us, well, this is how this crosses over. And it was amazing to see how that happened. So,
Yeah, we did a lot of exercises and organizing and role playing to learn different ways of talking to people and communicating.
yes, it was quite interesting. I enjoyed it very much. I would definitely recommend it for anyone that's wanting to get even remotely touching on organizing. It's very interesting and it's very helpful.
A lot of useful information how to engage people in either the organizing or even within like the location that stops you, how to communicate.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Thank you both for going. This is the way that we do better. Whenever we all know a little bit more, right? We all do a little bit better. So thank you both for going, and thank you to Sarah. If you're watching, thank you also for going. I got accolades on all three of you, and that's always a great thing for me to hear whenever we send folks out of town, right? Because sometimes they maybe don't act so well, but you three did, and I appreciate that very much. Dierbergs Newtown store, I'm happy to say that Dierbergs is growing yet again. They're putting up a store in Newtown. The opening is at 8:15 tomorrow morning. I'm excited to go by there and see what this one looks like. The one off of Olive was beautiful. They moved out of our legacy fund a few years back, and one of the things that they said they wanted to do that for was to grow. And I will give Dierbergs this: they are grown, and I'm very happy to see that. There's no local leader ever who would ever say that they don't want their companies to grow. The more stores they have, the more partners we get. So I'm happy to say that Newtown is opening tomorrow. I hope it is a big success, and I hope they continue the growth that they've been doing. The backpack give back happened in June or July, rather. We gave away 559 backpacks and lunchboxes, and if that doesn't deserve a round of applause, I don't know what that. The amount of people that came out and engaged with us was real, and it was exciting. I wanted them to know that I understand what it feels like to have to put a kid to school and what it feels like to have to put out all that money. So I'm glad that they all came. And one of the nice things about this one was because they were non-perishable items, we were able to get them out to what I call our perimeter partners. We have folks out there who are very far out. We have people down in Steele, Missouri, Poplar, a lot of outside locations that maybe by the time they spent the time and gas, it wouldn't even be worth their time to come here, and their schedules maybe didn't allow it. So these were non-perishable. So we put some in our reps' cars, took them out to a park near those locations so that those people could also come and engage in their union. And what we want to do is show them that we appreciate them and we love them. And there was a great response from our perimeter partners. We're excited to see you show up. We're excited to see you come get some stuff. And I hope that your kids were proud to wear our backpacks to school, and I hope their first lunch is delicious. So thank you to our retirees. They showed up and showed out, much like my staff and my leadership team. We made sure that there were treats in the lunch boxes for the kids so that whenever they opened them up, they had a little bitty surprise in there. So it was wonderful that everybody came together for that. So I appreciate the retirees and everybody who donated to that. Yes. So we had a training here recently, just last Friday. I want to talk to you. We have a partner, Mary Ellen, and Mary Ellen reached out to Brandy Penrod, and Mary Ellen has a child with Down syndrome, and she's been an amazing advocate for people with Down syndrome or people who are on the spectrum. Brandy reached out to me and asked me if we could have a conversation, and I'm always open to a conversation about how we do better, right? I asked Mary Ellen during our conversation if she knew of anybody who did a training, that my staff would like to be trained. I would like my membership department to be trained. I want us to know how to engage with all of our partners, to know how to approach and make sure that your auditory is not jumping and don't come up too quickly. Whatever the little tips were that we got for that training that day are going to be very helpful with how we engage with our partners. And we have people who are on the spectrum and who have Down syndrome, and they are in society and they are earning a paycheck, and we support that 100%. So I'm glad to say that the reps are much better educated, and I'm much better educated. And Local 88 also came to that training. Again, we share spaces, and we also had all of health and welfare here because they take calls for our insurance, and we want to make sure that they knew also how to engage. So I'm quite proud of Mary Ellen for suggesting it. I really appreciate that. It's going to make us better, and that's what I'm all about whenever it comes to anything that we can do to make sure everybody knows that we see you and we hear you. So thank you to Art for coming by and doing that. Oh, we also have some flyers if anybody needs them. There is a phone number here that you can call and get some assistance navigating something, asking a question. They were wonderful. I felt very comfortable with them. I have the number in my phone already, just in case I'm out somewhere and I need to reach out and see is what I'm doing, is it right? Right? That's what we want to do. So thank you to Mary Ellen and to Art for coming out and training us. I think we all left the room a little bit better than we came into the room. So I will now pass it off to Secretary Treasurer Robert Spence.
Good evening to my local 655 family. Starting with the Secretary Treasurer's report, for the month of May, our finances were down $125,002.72. That took our year-to-date for the month of May to positive $182,564.88. For the month of May, we were down that month because we had a couple of major expenses that we ended up doing. Our building here, we needed a new air conditioning unit that was put on the roof, so that was a huge expense for us. And for the month of May is also when we do our Steward Seminar that we paid on, so that's why we had a negative month for the month of May. For our membership, we were actually up 88 members, and at that total for the month of May was 7,858 members. For the month of June, our finances were back up. We were up $134,869.55, which took our year-to-date for the month of June up $317,434.43. Our membership was down 110 members. That took us to 7,748 for the month of June. For the month of June, we always have some back and forth, people coming in and out with all of our locations. But for Sodexo, which is the food workers at Washington University, obviously they're getting into their summer semester, so we have a pretty big exodus from that area as we don't have as many members that fill those positions during the summer semester. So they came out in the month of June. Then for the month of July, we were up $114,743.57. That took our year to date. We're up $432,178. And our membership is down 18, which takes our total for the month of July, our year to date, is at 7,730. We just had, I know, going into August, our membership totals, as Sodexo starts coming back, they just went back to work last week. So we'll start seeing for the month of August when our next meeting comes up, that membership total will continue to rise at that time. So with that, that is our Secretary Treasurer's report. I make a motion for the acceptance of the Secretary Treasurer's report.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you.
I'm going to move right into the contract status report. For the month of May, we had as open contract items. Month of May, we were doing C3 Industries, which is high profile that President Kelly spoke about a little while ago. CBD Kratom stores were open in May, still as an open contract. Carlisle IGA, Kroger in Troy and Rolla, the Schnucks in Columbia, St. Louis area maps, Build-A-Bear, Darling Ingredients, and Schnucks Focus on Design. All of those were open. We did not have any completed contracts for the month of May. In June, we still had Carlisle IGA, Kroger and Troy and Rolla, Schnucks Columbia, St. Louis Area Maps, Build-A-Bear, Darling Ingredients, and Schnucks Focus on Design. C3 Industries, which was the high profile, we were able to complete that contract, as well as CBD Kratom stores throughout the St. Louis area, including those in Illinois, have become either members of Local 655 or Local 881 in Illinois for the 3 locations on that side of the river. So those were both first contracts. So I'm proud to be able to say that we were able to get first contracts with both of those locations. And then for the month of July, we have open items, open contracts in Carlisle IGA, Build-A-Bear, Schnucks Focus on Design. We are waiting to try and get dates, but they're considered open contracts with Proper Cannabis and Vibe Cannabis. Those were 2 organizing wins that we will be working to try and get a first contract with those 2 locations. For completed contracts, we have the Kroger in Troy and Rolla was completed, Schnucks in Columbia, Darling Ingredients, and we mentioned an open location with Schnucks Focus on Design. We will be voting that contract digitally starting tomorrow night. We have our Zoom meeting for those employees at Schnucks Focus on Design, so we can begin the digital process of voting tomorrow night, and that vote will run through Thursday at noon. So that is a recommended proposal that we hope will be able to be passed when we have that contract concluded. That concludes our contract status report. So we, depending on what we kind of get the feedback from our membership, the Schnucks Focus on Design wanted to be able to vote that digitally because that's how we voted the Schnucks stores digitally and CVS and some of the other contracts. What we've been looking at is if they are multiple locations, then we try and kind of gear towards digital because we're finding it harder and harder for everybody to come to one central location anymore. But that, with Focus on Designs, usually one location, we try and have them all come to one, but they wanted the digital vote for that location. So on those that we've done, that's a great question. So the company that we work with on a digital vote is called Election Buddy, and they handle all the aspects. We give them the list of employees, and we also send them a copy of the proposal. And then their company will send out from our records, they will send out a text message and an email, which will have a unique identifier so that everybody underneath that contract will get a copy of that ballot. And we at Local 655, we never get to see how anybody voted. That is handled by Election Buddy. We just see the results when the contract is voted as to whether people voted yes on that contract or no. So it'd only be those people underneath the Focus on Design contract, which with Schnucks, they're the people that do just at their design center in their warehouse for the floral. Those are the people that will be receiving the digital vote in their email or their text. Correct. It's a separate contract that votes that way. And it's still a new technology that we've just recently been able to use for that. Even with the Metro the Store contracts, we've had very low turnout in a lot of cases of people coming to one central location. We had voted it at St. Charles Community Center, Convention Center at times, but one of the ways that we've been able to turn up that number and get more people the opportunity to vote is by going the digital option. It seems like it's been a pretty good success. And we're always looking for a way to make sure anytime we're voting a contract, we want to make sure you get as many people that are underneath that contract to come out and vote on it or digital option to get the turnout. We want everybody's voice to be said on that contract, whether it's recommended or not. Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you for your questions. Wonderful. Mr. Edmonds, would you like to give a grievance report?
Sure enough. Thank you, President Kelly, and hello, everyone. Good evening. These are simply highlights for the month of May, June, July of 2026. Highlights of the grievances that we've had. Schnucks was not paying 4 of our UFCW 655 partners correctly. Schnucks agreed to settle one of the grievances by just adjusting our partner to the correct rate of pay and setting the other 3 grievances. They decided to settle those grievances and pay a total of $440.40. Holton Meat, Branding Iron, agreed to settle a grievance that was filed on behalf of one of our 655 partners, recognizing our partner's seniority rights and to place our partner in the correct, appropriate job. The grievance was settled. Belleville Boot, we have 2 of our partners that were terminated. UFCW 655 made the decision to move to arbitration. One of them was on parking, and also one we call what we call with the stacking, and that's different areas that they are stacking on top to issue disciplinary action. Schnucks gave a less senior person overtime hours. Schnucks has agreed to settle the grievance and pay the more senior lost wages of $340. Schnucks gave a 655 partner a corrective action for attendance. Schnucks agreed to pull the corrective action. Schnucks also suspended a 655 partner for attendance. Schnucks agreed to settle the grievance and pay our partner lost wages of $493. Schnucks terminated 3 655 partners. Schnucks agreed to reinstate all 3 of our 655 partners with full seniority rights and health and welfare and pension benefits for a total of $3,618.48. For the month of May, June, and July, we have a total of $6,094.67 is our total settlements for our grievances. President.
I will read the organizing report. The organizing department has been growing continuous momentum in Missouri in the cannabis industry. On May 20th, we filed a petition to unionize the 46 proper cannabis post-harvest department in Rock Hill. On July 1st, the proper cannabis post-harvest department voted 25 to 21 to unionize with Local 655. On June 18th, we filed a petition to organize 45 cannabis post-harvest department folks. We had our last organizing meeting before the vote this Wednesday, open to all Vive employees. On July 23rd and 24th, we won a 29 to 2 victory for those employees. So well done in the organizing department. Whenever we first started talking about organizing cannabis a while back, it was very difficult to get more than a 7 or 8 person unit. Sean tried very hard to get more interest, and these numbers are real. These numbers add up to the future of this union, because if we don't start adding partners and they find a way to not have us as partners, we're going to be in a world of hurt. So I'm proud of the organizing department. The cannabis industry isn't great on their workers, and I'm very glad that we're here to be able to help them. So well done, Sean. Keep growing us, okay? Okay, under political activities, I think I already talked about it with Amendment 4 and 5. That was a pretty big deal for us. We're also going to, of course, have the elections coming up in November. We will be out there doing whatever needs to be done to protect you at the level that we need to. Our lobbyist was very helpful on all of these things this past year, and I appreciate what Liz has done to keep me informed and Kyle informed so that we know what battles are out there to fight for you. On communications, we have, and these are donations that we make to organizations, and then typically those organizations reciprocate by donating back to us. So the Bricklayers Allied Craft Workers Golf, $300 for a team of 4. Blazers Charity Fund, $600 for a team and a whole sponsor. Missouri AFL-CIO quarter-page ad for their convention, $400. UFCW Local 27 Scholarship Fund, $500. Missouri Jobs with Justice ad book for a half-page ad was $500. Smart Locals 36 Golf Tournament, $200 for a whole sponsor. Iron Worker 396 Golf Tournament, $200 for a whole sponsor. The Labor Tribune, we did a quarter-page ad for their edition for Labor Day. That was $940. Operating Engineers 148 Charitable Fund, $250 donation. So if there is no further business, is there any new business to be brought? We're going to draw the grants and then we can adjourn. Fair enough? Oh, I do have a question. I did not know that. Jess Lee asked, why does the baggers get paid minimum wage when they start at Schnucks? Let me address that. Every time we go to the negotiating table with Schnucks, we advocate that baggers should make more money. They work hard. They're out in the weather. They are pushing carts. They are dealing with customers. They're bagging. Not all customers are friendly. So we understand that the pressure that they're under. Schnucks sees it as an entry-level position. That is what they say. That is their position. Typically, they want you to go from bagging and then move into one of the clerk departments. Could be center store, produce, bakery, dairy frozen. That's kind of their expectations. So that is why they really have a hard time budging off of the minimum wage for our courtesy clerks. I believe you're worth a lot more. I don't want anybody to think that I don't. Whenever we go to the table, it's all about that pie and who gets what piece of that pie. So because we have the training, the cross-training that you can go from a courtesy clerk to another department, we offer that in the contract. They think that that's the avenue for folks to start making more money. So much as I may not agree with it, that is the position that Schnucks has. Okay, and you were interested in that. Okay, great. We're going to go ahead and read some of these. River Loeffler from Dierbergs 94 Crossing. Kieran Heffel from Dierbergs 94 Crossing. Elizabeth Newland from Dierbergs 94 Crossing. Daniel Thibault from Dierbergs Mid Rivers Mall Drive. Jacob Duncan, Dierbergs 94 Crossing. Rachel Campbell, Dierbergs 94 Crossing. Elizabeth Newland, Dierbergs 94 Crossing. Marissa Boehner, yes. There we go. There you go. You got it. Nate Burrow. Oh, Noah Baxter. I'm so sorry. I couldn't read that. Dierbergs 79 Crossing. So this one tricked us, right? Karen Hempel, I read. Rachel Campbell, Dierbergs 94 Crossing. Jemiah Anise Webb from Schnucks 276. Hey, there we go. Anaya Redmond, Schnucks Lake St. Louis. Okay. Landry Barnfield, Dierbergs 94 Crossing. Grace Grafton, Dierbergs 94 Crossing. Lauren Teat, Schnucks Zumbo. Merritt Valek, Dierbergs 94 Crossing. Benjamin Pettiborn, Dierbergs 94 Crossing. Reginald Thigpen II, Dierbergs 94 Crossing. August Brindle, Dierbergs Telegraph. Abraham Thibault, Dierbergs 94 Crossing. And Taija Nunn, Schnucks Grandview. So congratulations to all of them. They will each receive a $150 check from the local union. I know it's not a lot of money these days. Hopefully it puts some gas in their car or it helps them get some books or whatever the case may be. So congratulations to all of them. I'm not seeing any more questions on Facebook. Do I have any questions here? Well, then I would entertain somebody to give a motion to adjourn. And a second? Wonderful. All those in favor? Perfect. Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate everything you do every day. Thank you.